Hi. Yeah, you start this time.
Okay, welcome to the third episode in our series of Enlightened Living.
Oh, I like that. Spirit science. We're in a silly mood.
Spirit science, yeah, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
the moons and everything that happened
Yeah,
this
blame
week,
it on
right?
the moon.
I'm always going to blame it on something,
Blame it
whether
on
it's
the
Mercury or Archangel somebody doing some shit, you know.
Some archangels, it's the moon
It's
and the
something,
archangels.
and Mercury,
Yeah.
like Mercury can be blamed for a lot of things. Thanks, Mercury.
Yeah.
So we were talking, you and I, about what it means to be me, and I think by that you meant yourself, to be authentic.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna jump right in.
Yeah.
I just, you know, we're trying to think of topics, things to talk about, and which would be a topic, so redundant sometimes. And I was thinking about that idea of being yourself and, you know, being who you are. And I think there's a bit of a, I don't want to say the word I was going to say because it's a curse word, but a mind. There's a bit of there's different layers to being yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the idea of what you know consciously is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And allowing yourself to be that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I know that I would like to, I don't know, do such and such thing, but I'm afraid that I'll be judged. So I don't allow myself to be myself. So there's that layer. Then there's so I guess maybe three parts to it. Then you have the conscious awareness of what you want to do, but you maybe aren't aware of why you're not doing it. So then there's the fear of being judged might be, it's there, but you're not aware of it.
Okay.
Right? So maybe you're aware of the resistance or you're not. But then and this is where it kind of gets a little crazy, I think, is that you then will have, so because of the limitations
Mm-hmm.
that your fears, your blocks are creating, is what you're consciously desiring or feeling as who you are, really who you are. It's not going to be
complicated.
Right? Well, that's what I'm saying. I wish I could draw a map, but like, is the full potential of you, if you're not aware of the full potential of you,
Mm-hmm.
so you won't be aware of the full potential of you if you are limited
Mm-hmm.
by limiting beliefs and feelings and memories, things that, you know, you've picked up. And I wish I had brought, I wrote something I was going to actually write up on Facebook about this.
Well, you can add it to our
Yeah,
YouTube video.
and it was actually just on this, and I read it this morning, about how we learn as children to understand ourselves through the people around us.
Yes.
Right? So what you're learning about yourself, and then there's that contrast with how Abraham Hicks talks about
Mm-hmm.
contrast. There's the contrast between what you've learned about yourself and then what you kind of feel on the inside, what you feel as a pull, and that can create pain, right? So
conflict.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So who you really are, who you really be, is not necessarily what you're aware of.
No, not at all.
Right?
When you asked me that question, I really kind of tumbled it around in my mind for a while, and one of the things that I came up with was who I am depends on what role I'm in at that moment. So am I the mother? And all that means, am I the daughter? Am I the community person? Am I the shop owner? Who am I in that moment will dictate how I act, what I say.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because I think we all have guidelines around what those things mean. And the other thing is that it's all the peeling of the onion, as we've discussed many times. So you were saying, you know, you grow up as a child and you are taught to be this or not be that. But I think it was Louise Hay that said, you know, when you're born, you love every part of yourself. You even love your excrement. It's all good.
Yeah.
And then little by little, you're told, well, actually, that's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't behave that way. Or you should do this. You know, the shoulds are the dreaded shoulds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I was kind of looking at it and trying to figure it out in my mind.
Exactly. So that those limitations then limit what you actually believe you to be.
Yes,
So
because you're a construct.
yeah, instead of just being you.
Yeah.
Right? And as you peel those layers away, and so, and I sometimes I think about it in terms of like, if you're in the quicksand
Mm-hmm.
of your pain, how do you pull yourself out of that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're in the, you need somebody to sort of help you pull out of there, to see that if you don't
Definitely.
realize you're in quicksand and you're just trying
And
to,
I'd say most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people are just
And that's
going
the
on,
thing about,
doing their thing.
that's the thing about not realizing that who you think you are is actually a limited version of who you could really be, and that's
Yeah, no
really
question.
scary for most people. I really believe that most of us, especially people in the I was gonna say in sort of the healing world, but it transcends that because it's more than that. But any time that you have a fear of being yourself, or of being all of you, or discovering who that is, or being like 100%, there can be fear around that, and that's usually coming from past lives where something bad has happened to you for
or just
being
being
yourself.
judged, because even in this life, if
Yeah.
you've been judged for something before, you're like, oh, last time I did that, it didn't end so well, so
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
you
feel
can have
comfortable
been,
doing it
yeah,
again.
it can be judgment in this lifetime. It can be death in another lifetime,
Yeah.
right? Like persecuted or
Yeah.
hurt for being who I was. So anyway, yeah, it's an interesting thing, this idea of being who you are, because, and then we place judgments on ourselves about not being who we are. So if you think that, right? Right.
We are
So,
seriously messed up.
We're really there's a lot of crazy in here. So what's coming to me is the idea that if you you have an idea of who you should be,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't reach that, then there's judgment around that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that will block you even more from reaching that. Or I see this a lot in people who are so unhappy, and then the unhappiness that they feel inside, they take to the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
and then they feel unhappy in the work. I'm not talking about a workplace where there's like,
Misery.
like where it's really, you're being harassed, and there's, and even then there's stuff you can do from your own perspective to change things.
Yeah.
You can sort of look at, okay, well, why am I bringing this into my existence, and why am I creating this, blah blah blah. But anyway, sometimes in sort of other people have no issues with that workplace, and then you might be completely miserable for it. And so
Yeah.
people strive to sort of have their own business and to work for themselves. They don't want to work for the man. They want to create their own hours. There's this whole thing about, and as business women, we see that a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
This sort of, I don't want to work for anybody else. There's like almost a stigma around it, right? And like, if I don't do it full time, I'm a failure. There's a lot of that, and all of it just creates more layers of blockage.
And the resistance too, like if I was just thinking of something, like if you go into business and you think in the first 5 years that you're going to make a lot of money, that's not it. But and it's a sustained effort, sustained over and over and over, doing the same things until it takes 8 times before you're even noticed as a business. But if you resist, it makes it that much harder.
Yeah.
Abraham Hicks talks about that too. And if you could just let go, turn your boat around and go with the current, and let it happen for you, instead of, well, I had this idea, and in my head, my business was going to be a bricks and mortar store, and it was going to be located in Hindenburg, and you have all those preconceived ideas, and it's not working. If you don't let go of those ideas, you can't let whatever's supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's a real balance. It's a delicate sort of balance between having a vision and then allowing the universe to bring with you the best version of that and what's needed. And in order to do that, you have to be clear, and you have to clear the stuff that is stopping that from happening if it's not happening. I always say I'm all about personal power. I have something right now. I was telling Heather that I can't something I want that I can't get, and I'm like, where, you know, like I'm kind of like spinning my wheels internally, trying to figure out where that is, what is it, and clearing it through different
the clearing
tools like
it is
EFT and the
Right.
and the access consciousness stuff.
The key is not to clear it is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
The key is to let go of that resistance and just think, okay, what is this about, instead of trying to figure out how it's going to happen, right?
Well, I think for me too, the key is to go within, because a lot of people will look without and say, well, I can't because of this.
Right.
I can't because of that.
Yes.
And for me, the fact that, you know, if I think I can't because of something outside of me, I'm lying to myself. I need to figure out, so even if it's that I don't have the money to do it, why don't I have the money to do it? That's something within me.
Yes.
Right? So it's for me, it's always about clearing that stuff that's within.
So that goes back to the original discussion, which was,
Does it?
yes,
I feel like
who I be,
who I be.
and at the very core, to get back to who you really are,
Yeah.
takes work. It takes work.
Yes.
And you have to
Yes.
be willing to do it.
Yes.
And when you do, the payoff is huge.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Not just for you, other people in your life.
Mhm.
You know, they say when you heal, it's 7 generations forward and 7 generations back when you can heal your stuff. So it can be very, very powerful.
I want to go back to something you said about business.
Mhm.
So you said that the thing about, you know, it takes 5 years to
Yes.
blah, blah, blah. I think, so I get what you're saying, but that is a very sort of,
That's a rule that
it's a
somebody said.
linear
Yeah.
human business understanding that you can transcend if you're, right?
Yeah, if you're in alignment. But the
Yeah.
thing is, most people, I pointed that out because most people are like, well, hey, why isn't it happening?
No, I totally get it. It does take time, but it might not happen in 5 years, and it could happen before
Right.
that.
It
So
could
it's
take
not,
10 years.
Yeah,
Depending on your block.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
that was, I just wanted to point
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
we're not victims of human dynamics,
right.
right? We're in charge.
Sure.
And yeah.
But it's taking the charge. It's taking it back. It's taking the control back and realizing that, and also having the faith in the universe.
Yeah.
I'm letting it go. I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what happens now
Yeah.
because something's going to open up.
Yeah.
Because I've done my work.
Exactly. And the other thing I wanted to say is you have to make sure that what you do start doing is what you want to do, not what other
Yeah.
people are doing.
Yeah.
So it has to be, this is my drive, this is what I want to do, not other people are making money with this, so I'm going to jump into that.
You
or,
have to be congruent
or there
with
is
it.
there people want this, so I'm going to go into that space. You have to do what feels right for you, because that again is about being in alignment with who you are, with who you be. And then you're going to propel forward, right? It can't be.
Did you do NLP?
Ages ago.
Okay.
I didn't learn it, but I was part of some group that did it. Some weird.
So in neurolinguistic
not
programming,
weird, sorry, but it was. I have very faint memories of it. It was like a meeting.
In NLP, one of the things they talk about is being ecological, and that's another way of what you're saying. So let's say,
I want Heather to be example. Here we go. Let's put you in here more.
let's say, for example, you want to help somebody, but they're a thief, and in your ethics and morals, you can't help somebody who's a thief. Let's just say, for whatever reason, it doesn't fall within your sphere. Then you can't help them because it's not ecological. Or if someone's too close to you.
What do you mean by ecological?
Just what you were talking about before. If it's not congruent with who you are, you can't. It doesn't
But
work.
then
doesn't
who are
fit.
you to say that you shouldn't help the person who's a thief?
Well, it probably was a bad example. I'm trying to think of another
But
one.
it's actually a good example because it goes to another thing, or it's all related, which is why we're going from one thing to another. But if you're judging that person for being a thief, look at what you're doing. You're actually blocking a client from coming.
Right. So then it's up to
So
you to
judgment's-
become ecological with that,
Okay.
or you can't do it.
So I don't get the ecological thing.
If it's not congruent with me, then maybe I have to do work so that it becomes congruent.
Ah, I see.
Or I say, you know what, I don't think I can do that, but
Yeah.
I'll refer you to somebody
Yes.
who can do that.
Yeah. You can, of course, it's all about your choice, right? Yeah. But it's good to be aware that that is the choice that you're making, and it's not
Yes.
somebody else making that choice for you.
No, it's all in here. It's in the me.
I know. I think it's great.
It is
A lot
great,
of people
I'm
resist that though. They think, oh,
Of
you're
course.
blaming me for whatever, and it's like, no, it's not about blame. It's
About
about personal
responsibility.
responsibility,
Yes.
and I think that is the most amazing thing.
It's very
You know,
empowering.
yeah, you're
Mhm.
in control, and if you can wrap your head around the fact that everything around you, everything that's happened to you, you've created, then imagine what you can create if
Yes.
you are managing your creative powers, right?
But it's a practice like anything else.
Yes.
And we don't do it by ourselves. I mean, we've worked together.
Yeah.
I know we've both done a lot of work with other people too, and
Absolutely.
I don't see an end in sight for that. I
No.
think as you keep going,
Just get better at it.
you get better at it. You also accumulate stuff along the way, so you
Yeah.
kind of need to get dusted off and so on. But yeah, the payoff is huge.
Yeah.
So what else do we want to talk about today? Now that we've discovered who me
The
is.
light topics.
Seriously.
The light side of life. What's that song? Oh no, we can't sing songs.
No, don't sing. No,
oh,
don't
yes.
So I was
We
really
do
excited because we're starting to line up guests now, and
Yes.
next week we're going to be talking to Michael Sanon, who's doing. He's actually one of
Can
my
you say
staff.
just say his name again?
Michael.
Enunciate.
Michael Sanon,
Sanon.
and he actually works for the government, but he also is really into crystals.
Yeah.
So we were talking about possible workshops that he could do, and I'm like, well, you and I both know that when you work in an institution that's very big, that things happen and people want to get some autonomy, which is what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And so he's going to show people how to use crystals to protect and ground themselves in situations where they need a little extra help.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting actually, and I find that the crystals are really so mainstream now, and Kathy Glover Scott says the veil between us and the crystals is very thin right now.
Yeah.
So in the world of technology, of course, there are crystals in everything, and you can bring your little
And my
buddy
little
out?
friend, my new friend,
You have to show it.
is gonna hijack. Look at what a beauty.
Crackle quartz.
Gorgeous.
So this is like a gazillion rainbows inside of it.
And I am not, I have many crystals. I wear crystals. I could like layer myself in them. I'm very connected to the energy, but I don't really know about them. What they
Well,
do.
that's what Christina
I
was
just,
saying last week too.
Yeah.
Like she just goes by intuition,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
this one has the most beautiful rainbows in it,
Yeah, it
on
does.
these different places, and I just felt this morning like it wanted to come with me.
Aw.
So I took it with me in my
So cute.
purse.
Could have taken it
It's
to
just
your
my
forehead
little
like
friend.
you
I
do.
would love. Can I do this all day?
You have to do it the other way, like a unicorn.
I have a regular muggle job too. I'm not sure if
That's
that
right.
would fly.
Yeah, well.
Oh
A
my
little duct
gosh!
tape.
I could be a
Perfect.
unicorn.
There
Wait,
you
hang
go.
on a second. Let's
You could
do
be.
the unicorn. That is
You
me.
should make that your profile picture.
Oh my gosh! Let's do it.
As you can see, we take life very seriously.
All right. So should we sign off
Yep,
for
let's
today?
wrap it up, and looking forward to having Michael on next week, and I think our lineup is going to be very exciting in the next few months, so stay tuned.
Yeah, and again, feel free if you want, if you want us to chat about anything in particular, or you have questions, feel free to,
Yeah, we could do a live feed
Let
if
us
people are
know.
interested in that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right,
Bye.
thanks for tuning in.
Bye. And be yourself. Don't be anybody else.
Everyone else is taken.
Yeah, exactly. Bye.